A pleasant day to everyone. So I'm going to present to you our study entitled Perceived Design Thinking Mindset Level of Basic Education Mathematics Teachers from Ilocos Region by yours truly, Melinda Gagaza and Dr. Celina Sarmiento. So this study got its inspiration on the issues or problems of the current industry. So we are now facing a different landscape of industry which brought to us by the entrant of Industrial Revolution 4.0. So what is Revolution 4.0? The Industrial Revolution 4.0 is a term used to describe the changes that happen in the industry due to the automation of work brought by digital technologies, which makes a rapidly changing industry. With this new landscape, also referred to as the innovative era, it requires a tight human-machine collaboration. As such, global workforce transformation is a main concern. The increasing need for automated processes and digitization of work urge human resources to reinvent themselves to ensure that they are well equipped of working in Industry 4.0. Undeniably, these changes in the industry impacts the educational sector as the role is on the production of human capital. So in education, the emerging solution is what we call Education 4.0, which we are trying to build and enhance to align to the needs of the current industry. Teachers also face problems with Education 4.0, like teaching new student archetype composed of internet generation students. Also, there have been studies which identified skills gap, the misalignment of the acquired skills of the students and the expected skills for the current industry. Moreover, in this era of advanced technology, the role of design has been considered an approach to problem which increases the role of teachers as designers of learning. Now, one important skills currently gaining attention for development is design thinking. So what is design thinking? So design thinking is generally defined as an innovative, complex problem-solving skills that focuses on human needs. And we also see the importance of design thinking, not only for Industry 4.0, but to our current situation on the COVID-19 pandemic. So this unprecedented event in education forced teachers, learners, and other stakeholders to adapt to the new normal and find solutions despite the uncertainties and the challenges that is embedded in it. Design thinking follows through an iterative process, which means that whenever needed for the refinement of the solution, a designer goes back to the different phases of the process. So this makes this approach complex but very effective. And to be able to execute this process effectively, a person should have that design thinking mindset. Now, the main objective of this study is to determine the perceived design thinking mindset level of basic education mathematics teachers. And this uses a mixed method design, descriptives for determining the level of design thinking mindset, and the qualitative part was used to follow up the quantitative results. Now, the instruments used in this study are the following. So first is the Design Thinking Questionnaire Assessment, which is adapted from the study of Dose, Rosati, and Vignoli 2018. So this instrument used in this study has 19 constructs with 71 items that uses 5-point Likert scale from strongly agree to strongly disagree. So the collection of data was done through Google Forms voluntarily, and in total, there were 588 mathematics teachers from Basic Ed in Ilocos Region who answered the online questionnaire. But only 571 teachers were counted in the data analysis upon data cleanup. While the semi-structured interview protocol, which was used to follow up the quantitative result, is composed of 16 questions that were based on the constructs of the DT mindset assessment. This instrument was reviewed by Hobby Lab Education, a research group that makes well-designed experience in education. So the interview was participated by 6 teachers. Now here's the results of the study. In general, the perceived design thinking mindset level of the 571 teachers who answered the assessment appears to be very high, with mean of 4.23 and a standard deviation of 0.52. Most of the respondents, which are composed of 54.8% of the sample, have a perceived design thinking mindset equivalent to a high level, which ranges from 3.41 to 4.20. While second on the list is 44.1%, which ranges from 4.21 to 5, fall under the category of very high perceived design thinking mindset level, while no teacher has a very low perceived design thinking level. Now, to move further with the result of the design thinking mindset level, it is good to look at the design thinking constructs of the assessment. So each construct is composed of questions, and the average of the responses for each were computed as shown in the table. Using one-way ANOVA, the computed p-value is less than 0.01, which means that there are significant differences that exist between the means of the constructs. Notably, the design thinking constructs which gain the highest means are learning-oriented, experimentation, team working, and optimism to have an impact. So multiple comparisons test was also conducted to see which pairs gained significant differences. Learning-oriented based on the multiple comparisons test is significantly higher than the 14 constructs in the assessment, while experimentation, team working, and optimism to have an impact are significantly higher to the 9 constructs in the assessment. On the other hand, the constructs which gain the lowest means are tolerance for uncertainty and embracing risk, which are significantly lower than the 17 remaining constructs in the assessment, while abductive thinking is significantly lower than the 14 constructs, and while envisioning new things is significantly lower than the 10 constructs in the assessment. So tolerance for uncertainty and embracing risk in the assessment are about the degree of comfortability with unfamiliar and unknown situations. And if teachers are willing to take risks or chances with these situations, even if this lead them to mistakes. Under abductive thinking, questions are about the degree of comfortability of the respondents in inventing new solutions for future possibilities and building conclusions despite incomplete information. And lastly, envisioning new things is about the degree of comfortability of foreseeing different outcomes, keeping multiple options, and making prototypes to represent new ideas. The common denominator for these 3 constructs with the lowest means is that they deal with what is unknown, new, or unfamiliar situations. Teachers might feel unease when exploring new strategies, approaches, solutions, or dealing with an unprecedented event in their profession in changes in the curriculum. Now, here are sample of excerpts from the interview when teachers were asked about how they felt about the uncertainties or changes in their teaching practice, with particular focus on the current pandemic. So at first, they struggled with the shift to a new modality of learning because of the perceived lack of knowledge about it and the anticipated adjustments in many aspects in their teaching. But sooner, they realized in the process that they have no option but to continue and face these uncertainties. They learned that they should be willing to adapt, take risks to try new things, keeping considerations in the modality of learning. Now also, the DT constructs with highest means, learning-oriented, experimentation, team working, and optimism to have an impact was also uncovered in the interview. So learning-oriented questions in the design thinking assessment were about the degree of comfortability of teachers in learning from their experiences, and use this as feedback to inform their decisions at present. Similarly, experimentation is about the comfortability of the teachers to learn from the mistakes in their experiences. Teachers in the interview responded that they incorporate the shortcomings they had in designing the module for the improvement of it. Also, they are aware that mistakes are a part of the process, and the important thing is that they try. While team working is the degree of comfortability of teachers in working in groups. When asked about their stand about working in group versus working individually, here are sample of their responses. They prefer sharing ideas, listening, and learning from others, and they are aware that there are things that they do not know, and so seeking help from others is a need. Optimism to have an impact, on the other hand, is about the positive mindset of teacher towards overcoming difficulties, to passively think and act towards addressing these problems. When asked in the interview what keeps them going and what qualities should a teacher possess to overcome difficulties, here are their point of view. They love what they do and they still envision to be one of those teachers who give their best for the learners, and they need to be calm in the situation, face the reality, and do what they need to do, and avoid complaints that are not necessary that may affect their work. On the other hand, the lack of technology resources is one of the greatest problems revealed in the interview. Majority of the respondents came from public schools, with almost 95% of the 571 mathematics teachers who answered the assessment. So here are sample excerpts from the interview when they elaborate the problems that hinders their lesson design. Although our teachers aim to use advanced technology resources to support their lesson design, they could not afford to do so because the lack of it, especially on the part of the learners. Now the question is, does design thinking absolutely needs technology? It doesn't, because it's the mindset or the process that enables teachers to solve difficult problems in the midst of uncertainty and despite constraints. It is a complex problem-solving skills that is human focus. However, in the context of Education 4.0, where we are trying to address the needs of Industry 4.0, which is described as a rapidly changing industry because of the digitization of work, design thinking and technology are inseparable concepts. The reason why design thinking is currently gaining attention for development in this era is because it works in a way that when this skill is used to manage the rapidly changing industry and the digital technologies in Industry 4.0, it can potentially pave the way for innovative solutions and designs. So this study concluded that the mathematics teacher respondents in general have a very high design thinking mindset. This implies that these teachers possess the set of attitudes and a designer's mindset capable of creating good design or solution in their teaching. However, although our teachers possess a high design thinking mindset, it does not reflect the current situation of mathematics education in basic ed. That although we have this kind of teachers who have the capability to face uncertainty, who are flexible, and doing their best to address the needs of the students, still, students have low performance in math, which are seen in some standardized tests or assessments such as the 2019 Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study and the 2018 Program for International Student Assessment, in which our students in basic ed scored relatively low. So to unleash the potential of the teachers and to see a more innovative design that conforms to educational trends, curriculum stakeholders must see to it that our teachers and learners are supported with resources, particularly advanced technology, that plays a significant part in Education 4.0 and Industry 4.0.